From our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Hubar begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. First tonight, a man has died and another is in hospital following a horror head-on crash in the state's north. For more details, we're joined now by reporter Victoria Eastoe. Good evening, Victoria. What more can you tell us?
Lou, a man in his 30s suffered critical injuries when his truck collided with another on the Bass Highway at Elizabethtown just before 7:30 this morning. The Waverley man was unable to be saved, pronounced dead at the scene. The driver of the other truck was taken to the Launceston General Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. A section of the highway was closed and traffic was diverted for much of the day as emergency services worked to clear the scene.
The size of the trucks and the nature of the collision has slowed clean-up efforts down, and that is why it's been closed for so long.
So far, police have been unable to confirm many details surrounding the cause of the fatality. Just how this tragedy unfolded will now form part of a lengthy investigation. Lou.
All right, thanks for that, Victoria Eastoe there. The Premier has announced the biggest government business reforms in decades, including a possible merger of 3 GBEs. It follows the fallout from the Spirits of Tasmania fiasco, but Labor and a key independent are concerned the changes could make the issues worse.
The Spirits of Tasmania saga has put the dysfunction of government businesses in the spotlight.
The matters concerning TT Line and the berthing arrangements made me very angry. I'm still angry about it. Tasmanians are angry about it.
Proving to be the final straw for the Premier, who has proposed a major shake-up of the state's broken GBEs. The biggest change on the table, getting TT Line and Tasports to play in the same sandpit with Tasrail, merging the 3 entities into one, which will be reviewed over 6 months.
To ensure that we have a streamlined transport and logistics system in Tasmania, and to ensure that what happened with the Spirits will never happen again.
Independent David O'Byrne isn't convinced it's the right move.
Tasrail is a well-run business and we don't want to replace one good running business and 2 poorly running businesses with one poorly running business.
Privatising GBEs is also being considered, an idea firmly rejected by Labor.
Government ownership of organisations like Hydro Tasmania has been the backbone of our economy for 100 years. It has been, frankly, the most successful piece of economic policy that this state has ever had.
We will not be privatising Hydro at all. We will consider other options.
Another part of the government's plans includes a raft of tougher measures to scrutinise government enterprises, limiting directors and board chairs to only 2 terms, having Tasmanians make up half of GBE boards, and giving more powers to shareholder ministers to intervene in instances of poor performance, which will all be subject to public feedback by mid-December. But the opposition wants them brought in before the new year.
You've got government businesses who don't talk to each other, who fight amongst themselves and don't act in the state's best interest. Let's fix it.
It stands to reason that you should have good consideration of a major proposal.
The Chamber of Commerce welcoming the Premier's reforms, but rebuilding trust with the business community won't happen overnight.
It'll take a little bit of time. We need to see, this is an action, we need to see some results from the actions.
Anthony Dodd, 7 Tasmania News.
Hurricane force winds have caused one of the new Spirit of Tasmania ferries to break loose from its outfitting quay in Finland. The gusts blowing Spirit 5 into the opposite berth it's being docked at RMC's shipyard in Rauma. TT Line's acting CEO Kim Sayers says there doesn't appear to be any breach of the ferry's hull.
It's nobody's fault that these weather conditions happen, and I don't want to be negative for the sake of it, but it does speak to risks associated with having these ships not in Tasmanian waters.
Transport Minister Eric Abetz insists TT Line won't be required to foot the bill for any fixes.
That the damage is superficial. We'll ensure that it is fully checked out before we take ownership.
The vessel has since been safely returned to its layup berth. Back home, and a pod of pilot whales have been pushed into a remote section of beach at Macquarie Harbour during last night's wild weather in the state's west. Local fishermen claiming they spent 4 hours guiding the majority of the pod through a narrow channel to deeper waters. Environment officers remained at the scene this afternoon, where 4 were still stranded. Locals are warned to keep their distance. Glenorchy's sporting community hope a new indoor facility will address some of their problems, such as having to turn away players. While the build long answers the calls of our state's leading sport associations, they're already calling for more.
Many sporting clubs across the state have long been crying out for better facilities, saying they've been forced to turn away future players.
We are playing in facilities that have generally been built just after World War II. Same as basketball and netball, and we really need an upgrade.
This patch of grass at Claremont College dubbed the future home of a new indoor sports centre, with 4 courts to be used to host games of netball, basketball and futsal.
$28 million investment by government into a multi-sport facility here encompassing 4 courts, and we just know how important providing community sporting infrastructure is.
But for the largest sporting club in Glenorchy, it's a drop in the ocean, given it still doesn't have a home.
It does give us an area for our city to continue to grow, and we could expand, because we all know all our sports needs more than the 4 courts proposed.
For netball players, it's at least a step in the right direction.
Netball participation in the state is absolutely booming. We're about to hopefully crack the 10,000 participant mark.
It's bringing people from all sorts of backgrounds and walks of life to come together for the purpose of sport.
The centre's planned to be open in 2026. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
Hundreds have gathered for a family fun day in Hewenville to celebrate Tasmania's salmon industry. Food trucks, live performers and rides were set up across the Hewenville PCYC grounds, putting on a show for locals. The $1.3 billion industry has endured a challenging fortnight amid ongoing concerns about the impact salmon farming is having on the survival of the Maugean skate.
I think it's a chance for the industry to actually show its pride in what it does. There's an industry where people have been invested in its evolution over now generations. Over the course of the last 40 years, this has been the most successful industry in the state.
The sector supports approximately 5,000 jobs across the state. Hundreds of wine lovers have settled into a lovely afternoon, sampling some of Tasmania's finest drops at the annual Spring in the Vines Festival. Boutique vineyard Uplands wrapping up 3 days of sipping, jazz and tasty bites.
Sipping in the sun. Uplands Vineyard, one of nearly 40 Tasmanian producers getting involved in this year's Spring in the Vines. Grape lovers sampling a selection of sparkling Chardonnay and Pinot. But today, a new rosé was the star of the show.
It's our first rosé, but the fruit's from the valley, made by Tas Vintners. It's not our fruit, and that's also going off really well because it's a lovely drink on a warm day.
These vines situated in the Golden Mile when it comes to our state's quality wines, the Coal River Valley. Neighbour Pembroke joining forces to promote their 2020 Pinot Noir.
This valley is just renowned. Basically, if you can see Pittwater, that's where the best Pinot will come from. Couldn't be better.
While Spring in the Vines wraps up today, Uplands Vineyard do accept bookings over the summer period. And if you are planning on stopping by, I've been assured a glass of Chardonnay's the way to go.
We produce some every year. It goes into some Blanc de Blanc. We've won a gold medal in the past for that. And today we've got 3 different Chardonnays for everyone to try.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
Hobart's Princess Wharf One has been transformed into a renewable energy mecca, showcasing the latest in electric vehicle and clean power technology. The Energy Efficiency Electric Expo, featuring EV displays and test drives, bikes and a range of eco-friendly home products aimed at highlighting the importance of sustainability in helping tackle the climate crisis.
Opportunity to dispel some of the myths and educate the public on the benefits of moving to electric vehicles and efficient home energy solutions.
Organisers say 2,000 to 3,000 people have visited this weekend. The Hurricanes were no match for the Melbourne Stars earlier today in the WBBL. Hobart winning the toss and electing to bat first. Nicola Carey and Chloe Tyron combining for 79 of 133 runs in total in their innings. But Yastika Bhatia kept the Stars competitive, scoring 57 runs in their 7-wicket victory. The Hurricanes will travel back to Hobart to face the Sixers at Ninja Stadium on Wednesday. The Jack Jumpers have been handed their 7th loss of the season. A short time ago, they fell to the Sydney Kings by 18 points at Kudos Bank Arena. We'll have full highlights and reaction in tomorrow night's bulletin. To Hockey 1, where the Tassie Tigers men have taken a big leap towards finals. 3 saves from keeper Magnus McCausland, helping the side survive a dramatic 3-1 penalty shootout against the Brisbane Blaze. And the women's find themselves in finals contention after toppling the defending champions. Lacey Cooper scoring a double to help the Tigers pull off a 2-1 victory. Stay with us. Kaya will join us after the break with the weather forecast.
Good evening. I hope you've had a lovely weekend. Hobart saw 20 degrees today, 21 in Launceston, 19 for both Devonport and Burnie. The state's high, 24 at Friendly Beaches, 22 at St Helens. Mariah Island saw 21, 19 at Bushy Park. Flinders Island and Smithton 18, King Island, Low Head and Grove all 17. 16 at Strawn, but a cool day in Laiwini with just 12 degrees there. Areas of low cloud were seen across Western Tasmania today. There were sunny areas elsewhere with cloud increasing this afternoon. A frontal cloud band sits to the east of Tasmania. Thunderstorms are producing cloud along the Victorian and New South Wales border. Tomorrow a high will shift over the Bight, directing a westerly airstream across the state. West to northwesterly winds reaching up to 30 knots about the southwest in the morning, with westerly swells at 4 metres. We have a strong wind warning for coastal waters between Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point. Cloudy about the south tomorrow, Hobart 19, 18 for Dover and 17 the top 4 oohs. Cloudy for the Recreation Day public holiday in Launceston 21, partly cloudy in Devonport 18, 18 also in Scottsdale with cloudy skies. 18 and cloudy also in Burnie, a couple of showers for Strawn 16, a cloudy day in Stanley 17 the maximum. Cloud extending to the east, St Helens, Swansea and Ross all expecting 20 degrees. The forecast for an inland morning frost remains on Tuesday, but for racegoers it will be fine and mostly sunny, apart from light showers about the west. On Wednesday, those showers continue about the west, extending to most parts during the afternoon and evening, with hot and sunny conditions expected in the south. Don't forget to slip, slop and slap. And on Thursday, mostly fine about the north, but isolated showers are expected elsewhere. We'll take a look further north now. Cloud clearing in Adelaide 23, a partly cloudy day in Melbourne, Canberra, Alice Springs and Broome 25 and a shower or 2 in Sydney. Another cloudy evening this Sunday evening, Hobart 14, Launceston 16 and 15 for Devonport. That's all from me tonight. Louise, I'll see you again next weekend.
Wonderful. I look forward to it. Thanks, Kaya. That's all your news for now. Thank you for joining us. Have a lovely and safe evening. Good night.